up, YouTubers? Today we're going to talk about the TRC South Pole. This is a fixed blade made in Lithuania. It contains a 4.5-inch blade of Elmax super steel, hardened to 60 to 61. Rockwell, very nice. I will say it took no chips with me beating on it for a year and a half-ish or so. It weighs 6.9 ounces, 10.1 with the sheath, so 3.2 ounce sheath, nice and light. Prices at $360 new. I got this one from Chuck Nunface. I'll go ahead and link his channel below. He gave me a very fair price on this one, and he had used it very gently. I definitely put the beat down on it as I do with my fixed blades. So let's talk a little bit about this Kydex sheath. Kind of jumping into one of the pros, but you know what? Sheath is half of the equation. So perfect retention, shoots off very nicely. It has an excellent thumb ramp right there. And I gotta tell you, just a very unassuming, it does have a little water hole leakage there. And this whole pattern matches up perfectly with the Blade Tech Lock. So you wanna use a Tech Lock? No problem, there you can go. Let's talk about some comparisons or alternative knives for this one. And the first one is the Les George Magnate. This one is with Magna Cut steel. It's a 4.2-inch blade. It's a flat grind also. This one prices at $275. So again, kind of in that price range. Here's a little bit less priced one, lower priced one of Lion Steel. This is a T5. This one actually HRC'd at $59. I'll go ahead and link the video for that one on Apex Alchemy. Billy over there does free checking. Yeah, let's see. Yep, you can see that little tiny dot right there. So yeah, that one has been HRC'd, and they're in a similar HRC range. So yeah, it's a little bit longer blade, and it's made of Nylock steel. This one goes for, oh gosh, that was like, I think, yeah, that was $170. So a little bit lower price on that one, you know, based on some of the construction of it. And let's take out kind of the next two. I'll put that one up. Then we have the Bark River. This is the Bushcrafter 2 on the top there. This one is much more similarly sized. It's 4.4-inch blade, and it's 3V steel. This is priced at $300. And the DBK Bushcrafter, which is just a 4-inch blade, also of Elmax, and also made by TRC. So made by the same company. Oops, I gotta clean that one off. Yep, gotta do a review on it too. The DBK Bushcrafter, you know, you're paying a little bit more for, you know, the DBK boys, right? You guys know them. And so that one was $400. Had to ship back over to the USA. But yeah, so those are kind of some of your comparison knives. I think the Bushcrafter 2 is probably the one that for me was maybe the best, just in terms of the sizing, the blade stock. Actually, the blade stock on the Bushcrafter is just a wee bit thinner. This one I think is 0.18, and this one was 0.16. So they're very similar, but with this kind of lower Scandivex grind there, I would say that would be in that realm. Also, last thing on that comparison, you'll notice the much thicker swell around there in the Bark River, and then just kind of flatter and a little bit smaller scales on the TRC South Pole. So let's jump into the pros of this knife. I gotta tell you, it is this blade is absolutely awesome. Elmax steel, like I said, they pushed the HRC, I think, in the comfortable range of Elmax, so it could beat very well. You could certainly beat on it, but it took no chips at all compared to my Bark River. Not that Bushcrafter, that one is excellent in 3V, but my Bark River Bravo 1 didn't do so well. So yeah, this was a really good heat treat on this one. And actually, I'll say the apocalyptic finish really held up well. A little bit better than I thought it was gonna. I didn't get out of camping as much and beating on it as much as I kind of wanted to, but it's really, really good. You know, as far as fixed blade goes, I think Elmax steel is probably in my top 4 with 3V, Magna Cut, and ABL. So it's got that kind of Goldilocks goodness for toughness, decent edge retention, easy enough to sharpen up. The sheath we already kind of talked about, so I don't need to go into there. I just loved everything about that. It was very nice, unassuming, light and small. The diamond patterning on this micarta these micarta scales, is absolutely awesome. And kind of the diamonds go this way, so they don't go kind of vertical, but they give you great texture and lock you in. You can squeeze as hard as you want though, and they kind of have knockdown, and they don't like dig into your hand with it, and creating a pattern. So it is literally perfection in terms of the patterning on that. It's comfortable in the saber grip, in the hammer grip. This knife is it's really due to that good handle along with the crown spine, well, crown throughout. In fact, you can just kind of see it's crowned everywhere, and you do have a little bit of a stick out from the tang on the blade there that you could then crush some things with that pommel. I didn't though. It's just because it has this thing on it, but I guess you could just take that off. Yeah, this wasn't a bad thing, and I wasn't going to use it for that anyway. So yeah, the crowning, very very good. That's definitely an awesome feature of this, and yeah, we talked about that. Oh, and the apocalyptic finish. I was actually I want to talk a little about it again, just because it did hold up much better than I thought it would. And then when I came back and after I took off the lanthanides, I always test it out. I knew that this one wasn't best in camp because of the crown spine. Oops, I'm jumping into the cons, but it actually restored really well, and it didn't actually tear off with a fair bit of batoning in camp. Not a massive amount, but I really thought that it would come off a little bit more, kind of like some of those black and like you think about a BK9 or something. Uh, those texturings come off. This did pretty well, and plus I like that it's just kind of going to show as it does get some use. It's going to make it even more apocalyptic blade, so that's a really good thing. Let's jump into the cons. Everything comes with a trade-off. We already talked about it. I had already talked about it. With this nice crowning and comfort, they really didn't leave any place to strike a ferro rod very well. I got a little spark, but I had to use some assistance. My thought is, just from a design perspective, is leave this in the comfort zone, so you can leave all that crowned. But this inch right here, and Gary Creeley does this with his blades, especially when they have a kind of a softened back, is they make that so that it's really good. But then he has this last little bit just squared off at 90 degrees and providing your ferrule striking area. So kind of, that's just one of those things I think could be improved. Again, it's a trade-off. And then the last thing is this finger groove, again, in combination with this great handle, it locks you in and you're not going to go anywhere in the saber grip and the hammer grip. But I definitely found that when I went into a pull grip or a reverse grip, that little, you can see it's not sharp, but it could be rounded just a little bit more. Those other comparison knives really just have kind of a swell there. They don't have an actual finger groove, so they don't have to deal with that. But yeah, that one, it just digs in when if you're cutting into wood that way. It's like, oh yeah, you know what? That's not the most comfortable. Put on some gloves. Not gonna hurt. Overall, what do I say about this knife? It's everything I thought it would be. It's just essentially nearly flawless design and flawless production execution. I'll say TRC is second to nobody. The grind is perfectly square, perfectly even. Everything is just done quite amazingly. So, and if you're looking for a beautiful knife and one that can really handle some hard work, it does come at a price. $360 brand new, and you can get them for I think a lot less now. Especially if you're not getting the fancy apocalyptic finish. But I just would say it's absolutely, if you want it, get it. It's an excellent knife. There's nothing done wrong on this one. So I do hope this was of use. If not interesting, I appreciate the like and subscribe. Take care.